Alright, so we're back to Swift Basics. This is Ryan Cortez. In the first video, we had talked about using Xcode and downloading it. And please watch that if you do not have Xcode, because we'll be using that. We opened a playground, and I erased everything that was in it just so we could start fresh. And this is the first day that you will be coding. So the first thing that we need to do is store something. That way we can change it later. The two ways you could store things inside of Swift are making constants by using the let keyword. And this is a special word that Xcode and Swift use to store variables and specifically constants. Let, and then we can put whatever name we want. We can say whatever name equals 1. It's also important to point out, just for convention, I did this in a weird capitalization called lower camel case. I lowercased the first word and capitalized the next word. I could also say, let's put some other words. I want, and this should be the normal convention. Lowercase first word, uppercase word for I, and uppercase word for want. It's just an easy way as a Swift programmer to know that what you're referencing later, let's say whatever I want, I was just writing that word again. I know that this is a variable or a constant because somebody put the capitalization in that way. And that's just to help humans. It's not really for Swift in particular. But it's not correct to have this guy as a capital, because that will confuse any teammates that you work with in the future. But yeah, I was going to keep that as lower. I could also store things, let's see. Let's say my number, just to give you another example. Just storing 0 here. I could also store a very large number if I wanted. And you'll notice every time I type it, it's in the output console over here. Let's see if there's anything else fancy that it does. You can add this plus button over here, and it always remains at the bottom of the line that you wrote. These features will be more interesting when we deal with more complex data later. This also works for decimals. So we say my decimal. Again, this word has nothing to do with what I'm storing. It's just a made-up word. So it's 1.90, and it cuts off my 0 here. I could name it, my favorite number ever. That'd be a very specific number. But yeah, just to give you an idea, or maybe favorite decimal. The proper term would be a float. This particular number, if it is if we're storing this number, it's a floating point number, because it has a decimal. This is a integer, and I could label these as such. Let's take a look here. But before we get into that, let's distinguish a constant, which is using this let keyword, and a var, or a variable, my variable, let's say. And again, you can make this whatever word you want here. It doesn't have to be anything related to variable. It could be my second number. But the difference between the let and the var keywords, or a constant and a variable, is that you can add stuff to this my second number because it is a variable. So let's say I want to add 1 to my second number. I'll just put my second number plus 1. And we're going to see a little output over here is 11. It's not as useful to just lay it out like this, so I was going to put the value of 11 and store it. So then I'll put let result is a cool number, or a cool name. Result equal my second number. So now result, if I type it again, will equal 11. Pretty cool, right? So you get to define what these names, like result, my second number, my favorite float ever, you get to define what these names are valued at, or what they stand for. And there's some more complicated values that you could store in there, such as like words and letters, and we'll get into that in the next video.